So I welcome both of the brothers here to inspire the new founders which are coming here, right? Over to you, Raki.
Thank
Can
you.
you just tell about something more about yourself, the incredible journey through which you reached here, actually. Wonderful.
Thank you. Well, first of all, thank you very much for having us here today. We appreciate it and appreciate organizing a time across so many different time zones. I'm based in Australia, in Sydney, Keith's in the US. So we've got the globe covered, I think, between the three of us. A little bit about me. I've been in technology my entire career, so the last 25 years, and have been fortunate to be on the startup to scale up journey from the beginning through to exit several times over. So have had that experience of seeing how a company grows and what's needed as a company grows. And that's really what brought us to this latest venture, Handrails. We saw along the way that one of the important parts of working with enterprises and businesses in regulated industries is you need a strong focus on security and compliance. And this was always a focus for us from day one. But it's not always that easy depending on the size of team you have, and it's a costly exercise. And so what we've done is we've built a platform that helps democratize some of that compliance and allows people to run a tabletop exercise or an incident response very seamlessly through our platform Handrails. And what used to be a lengthy process, an expensive process with consultants, can now be done in 60 minutes on our platform at a very reasonable cost, but most importantly as well, saves people time and makes a much more efficient process as well.
Wonderful. That's a great, Ricky. That's great and amazing, right? So wonderful. So going to the Keith, actually, Keith, can you just also tell something about your incredible journey from what is that, the playgrounds towards the tech world, right?
Yeah, and I think a good way to bounce off Ricky there is we are brothers. He is my older brother, 2 years older than me, and we've now been apart. I've lived now in the US for about 12 years, and so we've got a very close family. We've actually got three brothers, a younger one as well. But this was an opportunity for us to be able to work together, which was very special. It offered us distinct parts of the globe, global coverage here, but also Ricky and I and our skill sets work particularly well. He's sort of like the chef in the kitchen.
Okay.
He's the one building and cooking. He's behind the scenes there, brilliant at tech. As a technology leader and a CTO, and so he had sort of experienced in the trenches some of these pain points around the tabletops, whereas I'm the front of the house. I love the human side of business, and so my background it's very very entrepreneurial based, but always with a focus on the growth, the revenue, the partnerships, the sales. But always with that human lens, which is a very important part of it for me. And so for Ricky to be building and for me to then be able to bring this to the world and to customers was a very special opportunity. And the fact that we get to talk to each other every day now and keep our close relationship. So that was a very special part.
Wonderful. That's great, Keith. That's great. Now, if you talk about, I'll just go to the Ricky now. Ricky, you have navigated high stakes certification like SOC 2 and other certification as a CTO, right? So what was the specific breaking point moment during a manual tabletop exercise where you realized the old way wasn't just slow, but fundamentally broken for modern tech leaders, actually?
Yeah, it's a great question. And it's interesting because navigated those certifications both in a small startup environment as well as a large enterprise organization. And in both cases, there were challenges. They were different challenges, and happy to talk through the challenges in each of them. But if we start with the startup as an example, a startup, it typically has a small team, and the people that are doing compliance, it's normally a limited function within that organization. But it's important because most startups, they still to supply to larger organizations, and they need to go through these compliance programs in order to become a third-party vendor for some of these other organizations. Now, the challenge with startups and tabletop exercises is you kind of have two options. The one is you can go hire a consultant, and consultants are fantastic and they do an excellent job. But the problem is it is an expensive exercise and it is a lengthy exercise. And as a startup, normally, you need to keep tight control over your expenditure. And so it's not that easy to go and spend $10,000 plus on a tabletop exercise. As well as you need to move quickly as a startup, and it's normally a lengthy process in order to go through. And so those are some of the challenges on the startup side. In addition to that, you've also got, as I mentioned, a small team. And if you think of a tabletop exercise, let's say you're doing an incident response, what you need is you need a facilitator. So if you act in as the facilitator, well, then you can't participate in the tabletop exercise. And when you're a small team, you need participation from your key people. So you're stuck in between this, rock and hard plate of I need a facilitator, but I can't be the facilitator, but I can't afford a facilitator. And so that's quite a challenging one for a startup. And it's time consuming as well. Like if you do act as the facilitator, you do need to come up with a contextual scenario. You do need to facilitate the exercise, coordinate with all the various stakeholders to be part of that exercise. And then you need to write up the report after. And when you in a startup and you're juggling, 100 balls, going and doing all of that work is really time consuming. So that's the challenges on the startup side. On the larger enterprise business side, there are different challenges over there. So the first one is you've got more stakeholders that you need to coordinate, and actually finding time to get everyone in the same room across different functional departments is a challenge, and it's not that easy. And you've also got a larger surface area in terms of what does need to be tested for business continuity and incident response. And so your generic tabletop exercises probably aren't as applicable to you because you've got a very custom technology stack. You've got a very unique business model that's probably developed over time. You've got a lot of different, probably custom systems as a larger enterprise. And so it's challenging in both scenarios for different reasons. But in both cases, it's always time consuming and a challenge to schedule. And that's, two of the key challenges that we solve with our solution.
That's absolutely right, Ricky. It takes very, very long time actually, because it's not so easy. Not only for startup, for the large organizations also. I have seen in my past, it takes around 6 months to normalize those all that tabletop exercises, because there are multiple rounds, right? Then only you can get the crux of that, how to sail those during those periods actually, right? So whenever there is a crisis, right? So that's
Yeah,
absolutely right.
it's very challenging. I was speaking to a friend that's at a large organization, and they recently ran a tabletop exercise with a large consulting firm, and it was a very costly exercise, but it was their entire executive team. It was a business continuity exercise. The entire executive team out of the office for half a day, and that's very impactful to the business. And so where we are trying to drive the industries not only to more efficiency in a single tabletop, but it shouldn't be a once a year scramble either, because if you actually think about it, and I know from experience, between disaster recovery exercises or business continuity exercises, if you're doing it annually, a lot changes in a business in a year. And by the time your next one comes around in a year's time, you typically have different systems, different processes. You have different employees that don't necessarily know what is happening. And so instead of it being a once a year scramble, what we're trying to say is let's make it more efficient so that you can run it on a more regular cadence. Because if you can run it quarterly, you're going to be in a much better situation than that once a year scramble.
That's right, Ricky. That's right. So let me
And Dr.
move to
Deep,
the.
if I may even ask you, because I know you're an expert, having been in the space a while and in all different seats here. That last part that Ricky's talking about, in terms of the more continuous program, that continuous compliance, how does that sit with you? You know, if in an ideal world, if cost and time was not the concern, would that be a better way of structuring it from your perspective in
See,
terms of compliance?
yes, you are absolutely right. It is not only compliance today, it requires the effectiveness on the ground, right? So to make things effective on ground, because compliance is something that, okay, you got a certificate, just hang it somewhere. But the AI era is coming in picture now, right? So it requires the
Mm,
effectiveness as well, right? And it scales very fast. I have done many tabletop exercises. Not only the tabletop, I have also executed the live one too, right? So after doing the tabletop, right? The phase two part of it.
hmm.
So there are a
Yeah.
lot of challenges which used to come, right? But the only thing is how to speed that process up. Otherwise, it takes to make it on the ground around 6 months, right? So it takes a lot of time. And second,
Yeah.
making it effective. If you have a system in place, it is very easy to replicate it or scale it, right? Otherwise, as a human, if you are going again and again with doing the same injectables, you will also miss out some injectables during the tabletop exercises, right? So
Mm.
that's right.
Hmm.
So
Yeah,
now coming to
exactly.
you, Keith. Sorry,
Sure.
I was just interrupting you. You have transitions from rugby pitch to the startup world in sports, right? You practiced until the more is muscles memory. How have you used that pressure testing philosophy to change how companies view cybersecurity readiness now?
Yeah. Yeah, I love the choice of words there that you use, the muscle memory.
Yeah,
You know, because there's so many industries. Pilots do flight simulators, actors do rehearsals, uh, you know, surgeons do their simulations, but yet the business world, the cybersecurity world, you know, this is the perfect opportunity to be able to replicate it. And for me, as someone who loves having played, watching sports, there is so much about the psychology, about the pressure and the ability to perform in those moments, no matter how good the game plan is, no matter how well scripted it is with the best coaches, unless you've practiced that over and over in the moments of pressure, it is really hard to be able to know how you to deliver and perform there. And so this is exactly the lens we look at it through, is bringing this almost like sporting preparation, this readiness preparation that we bring into sports, but applying it through the lens of the tabletop exercise here of this is not just a theatrical compliance process. This is something that if you can really put someone in the situation and be able to pressure test them in that moment, see how they can respond, that is going to hold up incredibly well with audits, with buyers on the enterprise side, with regulators. You know, because they are able to see evidence that this team, this organization is ready for the big moment when it occurs, the championship, if you will.
wonderful. That's a great and amazing thing, right? So now coming to you both have impressive uh, independent track records as a founders and investors, right? What was the conversations like when you decided to join together as a joint force, and how does your sibling shorthand allow you to more faster than traditional foundation founder teams actually, right? How it helps you to speed up because you are both are a brother, right? So that's what I thought. I'll just ask this question to you.
Yeah, it's a great question, and I think we understand each other really well because we've grown up together, and so we probably know where each other's strengths and weaknesses are.
Wonderful.
But there is a great mutual respect between us, which I think is for any relationship and any partnership is really important. If there's a good mutual respect, then it works well. But having deep understanding and knowledge of where each other's skill sets lie and strengths and weaknesses, I think allows us to move quickly because we can divide and conquer in the most efficient way and route the right tasks, to the right person. As Keith mentioned earlier, we've got very complementary skill sets, and so being able to see what needs to be done and then allocate it according to the best person based on their skill set in a really efficient way helps us move quickly.
Wonderful. That's great. That's great. Right. Now, talking about the resilience part, right, which is one of the key and very most important in now in AI era, right? So tabletop exercises used to be luxury for companies earlier, right? It's who has a larger budgets, they try to do it where it takes half 6 months to 1 year kind of timelines, right? Uh, to what inspires you most about giving a lean startup uh, ability to go from zero to audit ready in under an hour? What inspires you to make this?
Yeah, look, I think first of all, anytime you can democratize anything is a great thing for, business and the world. And so being able to have a platform that does democratize tabletop exercises and make it accessible to anyone is really important. It wasn't possible in the past. In the past, you did need to have a human in the room that was facilitating these exercises, and really two trends, both of virtual video, like we're doing now, but also AI allowed us to build the platform that we have today. So just to give you a little bit of insight to how it works is we have an AI agent. We've named her Holly. And Holly goes and looks at an organization and it looks at everything about that organization. So the industry they operate in, the size of business, their technology stack, a whole lot of context, and then automatically designs a scenario around that context. And in the past, that wasn't possible. It was off the shelf scenarios. Now we can have a tabletop for small business or large business with a scenario that's automatically designed because it can be done in a very contextual way. And then Holly goes and facilitates the session virtually via video, as easy as joining a Zoom meeting, as we've just done. And again, that's something that has been a new feature of the workplace. Is just in the past it was in-person meetings. Now a virtual meeting is just so commonplace. It's basically it's as easy as opening up a meeting invite and clicking on a link, and everyone knows how to do it and everyone knows how to attend. And then the report writing, we leverage, the AI agent as well, and that's done seamlessly. So what I think we've been able to do is leverage the current technology to allow it to be accessible to all of those different businesses, and now in turn allow them to be resilient because they have access to these tabletops in a much more seamless and cost-efficient way.
Wonderful.
Mm.
That's amazing. Right. So
Can
that
I
is
can
a
I
very
add
great.
one more thing
Yeah, sure.
onto the top of that, because the thing that gets me the most excited here, I mentioned I view everything through that human centric lens here. What I'm loving so much about this is how it's really elevating everyone in the industry. This is not alienating one part, like consultants. We've actually had consultants approaching us. They may be finding the scenario generation part quite time consuming, or the facilitation or the report writing. For us, this is now putting a tool in their hands that's going to make their time more efficient with them. It's taken away just the unnecessary time spent so that it can now go back to both the organization and the consultants. So we've set up a partner track for consultants to now be able to use this tool as a part of their toolkit with their clients here. So this really feels like a win-win for all of the parties here by just getting that time back for everyone and making the output as operationally ready, buyer ready, audit ready as possible. It's just really feels like a great synergy for the whole ecosystem.
Wonderful. That's a great, Keith. I think that's a wonderful which you have created actually, because the value creation is one of the key things, because how to secure more, right?
Shed
I've
value. Yeah.
seen a couple of incidents in the last year end. Actually, if you talk about, there is a incident happened in Europe, right? For one of the automobile large company was shut for 2.5 months only for some ransomware kind of incident, resulted to more than 3,200 CR kind of crore kind of losses for them in that quarter, right? So completely shut down that production as well as
There's
the
been
supply.
there's been a huge increase in incidents lately. So the timing, I think, is very good.
Yeah. So that is because all these tools are required to test their pressure testing, right? So how good they are, right? What they are doing, right? So that is one of the wonderful things, right?
That's it.
And I'm also trying to create value with different ways, actually. So I try to post one that is called Audit Sec Intelligence, right? So because I audited more than 200 customers in more than 35 countries in my past, right?
Oh, wow.
You've
I
seen it
traveled
all.
many times where Keith is there. Keith, you are in which city?
I'm currently in North Carolina, but I was in New York for 8 years before we moved down here a few years ago.
Good. With North Carolina, I went, I think, twice. And New York, usually that is the key center for me to travel, actually.
Yeah.
And Ricky, I think you are in Sydney or some different places.
I'm in Sydney, but as you can probably tell from the way I talk, I've lived in a lot of different places
Okay.
in my lifetime. I was actually born in South Africa. I grew up in
Oh,
Australia. I moved to the UK, expanded a business over there, and was there for a few years. And then with the same company, also moved to the US for a couple of years. So I've really covered a lot of the globe.
wonderful. Sydney is one of the very nice city. If you talk about, I visited there. I visited Melbourne, right? So that's a four seasons in a day kind of thing, right? That's amazing.
Yeah.
I did
Yeah, it's a
assessment.
beautiful city.
Yeah, I audited and I trained many CXOs level professionals, more than 2,000 actually, right? So I traveled in those cities. Second, I'm also planning to come up with some kind of micro e-learning kind of modules by July. That is an AI governance piece as well as some kind of privacy, right? So DPDPA is another act which is coming in India, right? So that is basically how to give that power to the people, right? To use that tools or something like that, right? How to make the awareness, because awareness is one of the key thing whenever you talk about, because we can make a Boeing 747, but if the awareness is not there, the people will keep it somewhere, right? So making that
Yeah.
awareness is also required to ensure that
Yeah.
effectively it's being used actually, right? Now
Yeah.
coming
I
to
love
the
that as a person whose background is in education. I love that that's where your mind is at, is thinking about the learning element and being able to teach more people.
motivating people, inspiring them, hey, they need to learn because it is going to safeguard them in the other way, if you talk about, right? So
Yeah.
the
I
value
love that.
creation is required. So the
I love
success
it.
saver, which you have seen in the background as well, right? So generally I run it at 6:30 to 7:10 without charging anything to the people, right? So just
Wow.
giving, what is that called? By design way of getting success, right? So by design way of improving focus, improving energies, right? So that they can create value for their large society, actually. So that's
That's
again
awesome.
another initiative which I have taken. And
I love
that
it.
is and taken one another step is taking an interview of more than 100 industry leaders like you, right? So started weeks back or 2 weeks back, and around 10 interviews are done till now, but still continuing, right, to inspire people across the globe and secure more and sustain more, create value the way it is needed, actually, right? So that is going on. So if you could just provide any learning for the founders or a new upcomer or a startup, any message which you would like to pass?
You want to go first, or you want me to?
Yeah, you can both. You can just give me. We have 2 more
Sure.
minutes. 1 minute you can take. 1 minute Keith can take.
Yeah.
Because 7:30 is a hard stop for me. Yeah.
Sure. Sure. Yeah. The first one that comes to mind, and maybe it's a little biased because we're talking as brothers here, but one of the most important things in any early stage startup is the team that you're working with. And I think that that's going to be true even in some of the biggest companies. People stick around based on who they're working for, who they're working with. The team is the most important thing. And so whether you're interviewing for a role or interviewing to hire people, that mutual fit is just so critical here. And so the ability to work with someone who I know, I trust, I have a lot of respect and admiration for me, that was a really big one here.
Wonderful. That's a great learning. Now, 1 point, Ricky. What
Yeah,
comes
look,
to
I mean, you took mine, and maybe it's because we're brothers and we think alike. But I was going to say as well that the people that you work with, you fortunately get to choose who you work with, and that's a good thing because when you're in a startup, you're working really hard, and most of your week is consumed in that business. So you want to be working with both people that you respect and that you enjoy, and that can complement what you're doing. So choose wisely. Don't just jump in and hire anyone. Be really careful. The more time you spend up front finding the right people, it might take long. It might be an effort up front, but it's worth it in the long run.
Wonderful. That's a great message, Ricky. Wonderful. And Keith. So it is very nice interacting with you. I'm always there with the great leaders like you. Whenever you require my support
Yeah.
to reach anyone. So I'll also
Thank you.
always there. You can count me in, right? So
Thank you. Thank
wonderful.
you, Dave.
That's
Thank
great.
you.
And
Thank
have
you
a
so
Thanks
great,
much
very
for
much.
having us. Really
Thank you for
appreciate your
hosting
time.
us today.
yeah. Thank you.
Absolutely.
Take care.
All the
Bye-bye.
best. Have a good morning. Thank you.
Thank
Bye.
you.
Bye.
Bye-bye.